Yo, what up? So, in today's video, I'm gonna talk about why you should not people please. And I would define people pleasing as this: it's basically doing something you don't want to do to get people to like you, right? And I think it's important that we talk about is things you don't want to do to get people to like you, right? If you do things that you like to do to get people to like you, I think that's totally fine, right? There's a lot of people that are out there that are super nice. They do a lot of nice things. Everyone likes them, and even if they're doing those things to be liked, I think that's totally fine. I think what happens, it becomes an issue when you're doing things you don't want to do. And I'll talk about that in this video. But really quickly, why do people please? Or why do people have these type of tendencies? I think it's because they want to be liked, right? And that's totally fine. I think everyone wants to be liked, right? I want to be liked, you want to be liked, everyone wants to be liked. And they think that if they do something for someone, or if they do something that that person would like, and that person would associate it with them and they would like them in return. And logically, it makes sense, but I think in the long run and in real life, it does not play out how you want it to play out. So I do think having people pleasing tendencies is bad. And not that it doesn't mean that you're a bad person if you have them or anything like that. I just think it's a bad strategy to make friends because it's very counterproductive and eventually it will make you sad. And just as proof, if you think about, okay, do you know anyone that has these tendencies? Do you think positively of them or negatively of them? Right. And it's probably going to be negative. So if you have these tendencies, it's totally fine. I'm just going to walk you through logically why I don't think it works. And hopefully this will convince you to change your strategy. So if I put myself in the shoes of someone that's trying to make friends through people pleasing, I'm basically doing something for you that I don't actually want to do, that doesn't benefit me, but benefits you. And I am hoping that you will be happy and return something to me that I want, whether it's your attention, your love, a favor, whatever it is, right? So in my mind, I'm making this trade, hoping that you'll give me what I want. You probably don't even know we're making this trade, right? And so I'm setting myself up for disappointment. And if you don't give me this thing I want, I'm gonna be very sad, right? If you do give me what I want, then I'm gonna keep doing this thing I don't want to do to get more of it, right? So that's not gonna lead to a healthy relationship. At the same time, I'm setting up this expectation of me for you that I'm gonna keep doing these things that are probably helpful to you that I don't actually like doing, right? So it's not realistic. So we're setting up like this non-sustainable process or this trade that you don't even know you're part of that I'm thinking about all the time, right? I'm also putting myself in a position where I can very easily be taken advantage of because what if I keep doing these things for you and you don't reciprocate, right? But I keep doing them because I really want whatever it is I want, and you don't reciprocate. So I'm gonna start getting taken advantage of. Or what if you ask me for these things because you know that I'll do them, right? So it's not really a good position to be in. And even if it works out, like mentally, I'm suffering the entire time, right? As the people pleaser. So the example I can think of that kind of makes sense, but not exactly, but hopefully it paints a good picture is just think about me as like an OnlyFans subscriber, right? And I'm paying money to this girl that doesn't know that, whatever, I'm in love with her or whatever. And I think that by me paying money, she's gonna become my girlfriend. She doesn't know I'm making this trade, right? So there's an expectation imbalance, and then I show up at some meetup, and I like, think she's my girlfriend, and she's like, "What the fuck?" Whatever, whatever. I don't really play this out entirely, but you get this picture, right? It's basically I'm making this trade. I think that something's happening. You don't know what's going on. You think that you're okay with just giving money for whatever. It's not very healthy. It's kind of obvious, but I just want to put this out there. Like relationships need a little bit of push, a little bit of give, right? You can't always be available, even if it's friends, even in friendships, right? Even if it's two dudes, right? It's just like you still have to play the game a little bit, right? And I wrote here, don't be a desperate slut. Yeah, you could be a slut. That's totally fine. You can be nice to everybody, whatever, whatever. That's totally fine, right? But don't be a desperate slut. Don't need it. Don't need someone to reciprocate, right? And once again, I think it's pretty common, but just like a lot of times, people that have people pleasing tendencies, they don't respect it, right? Because they don't respect themselves. You can't get respect unless you respect yourself. So if you don't respect your own time, you don't respect your own, whatever resources you're bringing to the table, then they're not going to respect it either. So, that's pretty straightforward. So I guess it's like, okay, if I'm going to be people pleasing and now you're telling me I can't do it, like the only reason I was doing it is because I didn't know what else to do or I'm scared that people aren't going to like me for me. Like, what do I do then? Well, a couple things, right? One is you probably are likable, right? And you just need to find people that like you for you, right? And that's kind of like a, TBS kind of answer. But if there is something that's about you that's not likable, then you just got to work on it. But actually work on it for the reason of trying to get better. Don't work on it faking it so that people will like you, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know. Like, for example, when I was in my 20s, I noticed that people didn't like certain things. Like, I was really aggressive to people, right? And I'd be like super aggressive to whoever, just for the fuck of it, just because that was my personality. And I started noticing, oh, maybe I shouldn't do that. So then I just stopped being so aggressive, or I started trying to be more sensitive to people's feelings, and then I just worked on it, and it stopped being a problem, right? So whatever it is that you got going on, you can just work on it, and it'll stop being a problem, and everything will be fine. But don't pretend to be a certain way so that people will like you, right? Those are two different things. Does it make sense? One is you're actually making the change because you want to. One is you're pretending, and it's not sincere. So another facet of this, which I think is actually more common and actually worse for your life, is trying to please society. And I think the topics kind of change as you get older. When you're younger, it's more like, okay, what are you doing with your life? Like, what your interests, what your hobbies are? Are they cool or whatever? Your career, obviously. So, for example, like in your 20s, like you care a lot more about what people think about you, so your hobbies are more important. And I think as you get older, you start to realize everyone's life just grows really different, and it really doesn't matter what people think anymore. And I think naturally, everyone learns that at some point. But I think what's really important to just point out is like whatever you think is cool is cool. So if you like collecting anime stickers or, I don't know, doing some sort of dance class or whatever it is, right? If you think it's cool, it's cool. It's really cool when people have hobbies, right? But the second you start caring and you think it's uncool for whatever reason, if people other people uncool, it becomes uncool, right? So whatever you like, you like. Whatever you don't like, it's totally fine. Same thing the other way. If you don't like something because everyone else likes it, it's totally fine, right? It's totally fine. I think the more society pressures or that people have when they're kind of close to my age, like in their late 30s, is like more like career and like, or they've been doing it for longer. It's like your life choices in terms of like your job and what you should be doing with your life, right? And like I guess the one thing I'll say is like if you have a lot of pressure from your family or people to like have a certain job or live a certain life a certain way, and you're worried about disappointing them, in my opinion, you're gonna disappoint them regardless, right? It's either right now when you tell them that you're not gonna do what you want them to do, or it's gonna be later when you've done that thing you didn't want to do for the last 10, 20 years, and now you're finally changing, right? But now you live the life that you didn't want to live for the last 20 years, right? So it's like, do you want to disappoint them now, or you want to disappoint them later when you find out you actually don't want to do that thing? So it's like, can you do it before or after you waste your life? So yeah, I guess that's kind of a way to think about it, and yeah, so I guess sum it all up, just do what you want. Thanks.